What's up, Coach?
Man, it feels a lot better to be standing up here after a victory instead of a loss.
Bet it does.
You guys ready?
Yeah, you got an opening statement. You just wanted to ask
Yeah,
questions.
no, I couldn't be more proud of this team and how they just battled. The message all week was who's going to want it more. And who would have known that it would have gone into 3 overtimes and probably the most complimentary football game that we've played. You look at the defense and they had their moments, and when the defense was struggling, the offense stepped up and actually moved the ball in critical times. So, that's what we've got to do to have success is play together as a team, and that's what we did tonight, and I couldn't be more happy for those kids. You talk about a lot of them have had a lot of criticism over the past 3 weeks, but a lot of them showed up and stepped up and made a lot of plays, and I couldn't be more happy for them. But overall, that's a big win for us. We're going to enjoy this one tonight. We know we got a really tough Nickel State coming in next week, where our goal is, the new season starts now, our goal is to be 2-0 after next week. So, any questions?
That's something you said going into this game, that you wanted to 1-0 because you wanted to start a brand new season after going 0-3. Do you feel after this win, is this kind of a turning point for this team? Can you feel that from your players?
I thought this was a pivotal moment for us. I wanted these kids to win so bad, and so today that, if they didn't pull this one off, it was going to be some tough conversations, and you could have possibly lost the team. But I think they know that, the Sun Belt is a tough league across the board. That's a good Georgia State team. I thought what they did offensively is great. That's why they beat an SEC opponent. But, that's why we've got to continue to play together and understand that all these games from here on out are winnable games. We just got to continue to get better, keep stacking days, and make sure that we're improving as a team. But,
Spav, I know you obviously like to win by a couple of scores, but given the way this happened, and as you talked about, you were really proud of the team because they stuck to it. This program and these players have seen these type of games go the other way so many times. How much does this? How much do you think a win like this helps them grow, maybe even more so than going out there and winning by 20?
Yeah, it's exactly what I told them at halftime. It's about finishing games. Finish this game the way you want it to be. And that's kind of been our Achilles heel, where we kind of get into the second half and we start to, you kind of sense it on the sideline that things are going to go a different direction and not to go, the ball's not going to bounce your way. And, I thought the kids never blinked once, even when there's times where you thought that we were probably going to, lose the game when you're down 7 in overtime. And man, they just kept battling, they kept pressing forward, and that is a very big game for us because it shows us that we're capable of finishing games if we play together as a team.
That spike at the end of regulation, did you think time should have ran off, or what was your thought on that whole situation?
Yeah, though, I was listening to Twyford. Twyford actually got the rule wrong based off of what I was talking about, where if it is a running clock, they go to instant replay to see when the ball touches the ground for the spike. And I thought it looked like it was, the ball hit the ground when it was all zeros. But, that's the way it goes, I'm pretty emotional because everybody rushed the field because we all thought we had won the game. Pretty curious to see what their thought was and the judgment call from the review on that point. But if the clock was stopped, they can run a spike. Takes 2 seconds to run off. Everything else goes to an instant replay if the clock is running. So what a wild game! What a wild way to end the regulation. So. Hopefully you'll probably never see one of those situations probably ever again. Of course, it comes in my 4th game as a head coach.
How much does it mean to you to get this first win as a head coach under your belt?
I'm a coach's kid. It's more about everybody else. Just to see the coaches are coming to me all fired up for me. I'll give my first one where I'm fired up for them, for all the scrutiny and the criticism we've gone through for 3 weeks, and just to see the kids and the administration and just the fans and everybody just so excited for the win. That's why you do this. It's not just about me and just getting a win. It's about galvanizing this whole university and showing excitement and understand that we're building something special here.
Coach, Caleb said that you guys, or that they picked you up in the locker room after this. Is that true? And what does this win do to bring the team a lot closer? I'm sure they were already like that, but a win like this has got to do something for the team.
No, they already are a close team. That's the thing. These kids don't waver. They've been through the highs and lows of every single thing that you can possibly imagine over the course of the past 4 years for some of these kids. So I don't think it brings them any closer. It's just more about I'm relieved that they got a victory. Because they put so much work into it. they stick together through the adverse times, and and you just couldn't be more happy for them that they pulled this one off and they finished the way it is, because it sucks going home after when you're in that locker room after a loss, because we've been working for 10 months to get to this point. That's what I told them before the game. Like, who cares about the last 3 games? We've put a lot of work in to get to this moment. We're not going to be judged off the 3 games that we just had. So it's all about moving forward. And I think it's awesome to see those kids have success, but they're already a really close group. So it's just part of how these kids have kind of gone through their college career right now.
Did they pick you up on that?
Yeah, they did pick me up, but like they were when I was up in the air, they told me they would not drop me, which I got that going for me right now.
Coach, how was the run game able to break through tonight?
Yeah, it's something that we set down as an offense for the last 4 or 5 days, and we just sit there and we talked about how it's very difficult to put Gresh in those situations where he has to throw it every single snap, and it's tough on our O-line. Our O-line is not capable of throwing it every single play. So we had to put an emphasis on getting the run game going, and once you got the run game going, it put Gresh in some favorable situations, what we've always talked about. And I thought that we could run the ball on this team, and I thought Bob did a really good job at calling the game and not deviating away from the run game, and he stuck to it, and he put us in some really good spots. And you got to give credit to Coach Stitt, because he called it one hell of a game.
Coach, I know you ended on a high note there. I want to know what was the lowest point of the game for you, and can you bring me back to that situation?
There was a lot of highs and lows in that game. You think about really just the spiked ball all the way to the end of the third overtime. You're talking about, we rushed the field thinking that we won the game. We missed a field goal. They also score a touchdown and go up 7. Like, there were so many highs and lows in just that part. But again, it's a game where you got to just keep fighting till the end. These kids did it.
Coach, I know there were a lot of penalties and pivotal moments that extended drives for both teams. Do you think they ultimately played an outcome on the game?
I just thought of Marshawn Lynch the entire time when she was talking about that. But no, I'm saying it's football. It's an emotional game. I thought there was drives and penalties that happened for us that just crushed us in the first half, and I thought at the end there was some on them that they're probably thinking the same. I haven't really looked too far into it. I was pretty frustrated in the first half. I was, because I thought the offense. They were playing well, but we're not to that point yet where we can overcome really long situations yet. And it did, Gresh pulled that one and ran for 18 yards for on that 1st and 20, which was fascinating. Gresh's spin move is awful too, by the way, since we're on that. But yeah, there was a lot of coaching going on in this game in terms of different situations and confidence builders, and like when you have pass interference calls, like the confidence of that kid shrinks so much. So then you have to get into the whole X's and O's of how you protect them and how you do things. So there was a lot of thought that went in behind all the penalties that occurred in this game.
You've been around head coaches for most of your life, and you're taught to, bad calls happen, calls that don't go your way happen. You got to, suck it up and keep going. How much harder is that to remember as a head coach now that you're you're the top guy? And
yeah, I caught myself actually calming everybody else down.
Yeah.
Because the emotions of the game, because you're having PIs inside the 15 and the ball's putting on the 2, and then they false start, and then you PI again, and it's back there. You talk about the highs and lows; they're all over the place. But yeah, it is what it is. You got, as a coach, you've got to be able to get that unit, being ready to adapt to whatever situation's next. And I thought our communication as a staff was on point, and when you start getting into penalties and situations where we're wearing down and they're starting to gash us a little bit, the headsets get a little chaotic now. They do. Sure. And I actually found myself calming everybody down and just talking about playing the next play and making sure that we're comfortable with the call.
In the third overtime, after Roland had missed the first field goal, what was your confidence level in Roland making that game winner there at the end?
Well, it was awesome to me because they iced the kicker, and I iced him in our Friday practice. So I was just like, all right, it's fate now, because he hit that one. It was just exactly what we practiced. It's same hash, same everything, and he hit it through. So I felt pretty confident after that, because you just felt that we prepared them that week. We iced them, we got them ready for that situation and kicked it through. So pretty awesome for that kid to bounce back after a previous miss and seal the game for us. They actually picked him up in the air too in the locker room. So.
As they should, only customary. As they should, only customary. You have Brian London here. We're going to talk to him soon. Defense. Talk about your defense. What your defense did for you tonight, and then Brian London's performance, which seemed second to none tonight.
The defense, that's who we lean on. That's who we've always been. Like my whole thing was trying to run clock, and run the football so we didn't put the defense out there so long, and we did that, and that's a really good offense. I'm telling you, what they've done in that scheme and that quarterback is very talented, and how they utilize them in the zone read, it's a dangerous offense. It really is. And I thought the defense, they held their own. They wore down a little bit at the end, but they made plays in critical moments and put them in tough situations, and that's what you ask for. And I've always told Bilo and really the defensive guys that we need you to win the game for us. And I thought they did. They put us in enough situations to win this game. Obviously, the offense has got a lot more confidence back, but I'm going to still lean on the defense and lean on the play of Bilo.
Did you want to ask that
Oh,
question?
yeah. Do you think the wind played a factor at all in the Silver Mix cake there in overtime? Or?
No, I don't think so. I asked that with Coach Whitworth, and he was just like, no. Because I was going to flip it to the other end and play, and he said, let's just play here. The wind's not that big of a factor. It's that we should be able to hit field goals at this range.
Coach, I know this is a Sun Belt Conference game. Not a lot of the Sun Belt teams got to play each other, but play different teams in the Sun Belt or across FBS. What is the message that this game sends to the Sun Belt teams that you're going after?
I really don't think it sends much of a message because it's a good league. I don't even know how App State ended up, but did they end up winning?
They beat North Carolina.
So they won, and ULM took Florida State into overtime. And you look at Georgia State beating Tennessee, like it's a really good league. That's what people. What I'm happy for is that we're starting to get the credit that we should get, but. I don't think it sends a message to anybody. It just shows you how close this league is across the board. That team beat Tennessee, they lose to Western Michigan, and we beat them in 3 overtimes. It just shows you the parity of this league, that we've got a lot of, tough games ahead of us, and we as a team got to keep getting better and making sure that we're staying healthy and doing the right things.
I asked Caleb Twyford what you said after the game, and he said that he was a little bit too hyped to really take it all in. So could you tell us what was said?
I didn't say much to him. I just said that I thought we wanted it a little bit more. That was the whole thing about the messaging. And I repeated myself 5 million times. It was about who wants it more, who wants it the most, who's going to play with the great effort and physicality. It's going to just come down to the last man standing and find a way to win this game no matter what happens. And that's what we did. We found a way. I didn't think it was going to go 3 overtimes with a field goal like that. Those kids are resilient. They just kept fighting to the end, and that's what we tried to make it be. And I just was so proud of these guys because, again, I want these kids to win so bad, and they finally did. And it feels a lot better coming in this room after a victory than a loss, for sure.
This week you talked about simplifying
We're done.
Just last one, let's go.
you talked about simplifying the offense this week, and with the passing play, it seemed like with the running game, it was really able to cut down the turnovers, and in turn you got turnovers on defense, which changed the game. Do you think you were able to accomplish that, simplifying the offense, make it easier on your quarterback?
I did, and that's getting the run game going. We sat down and we looked at the strengths and the weaknesses of every single kid on our team, what the quarterbacks can and can't do, where the run game is, O-line is, and made sure that we were putting them in situations that they're capable of doing. That was my whole thing. We put a lot of more different personnels out there. We moved Hutch into slot receiver because he's a great route runner, and it just gives us another advantage of where we're at. And it was just making sure that we simplified it in terms where they didn't have to think much, but also putting them in positions that they're capable of doing. We good? I appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Coach.
All right,
Appreciate
enjoy.
you.
Appreciate it.